Hello everybody, today I'm going to be doing my February wrap up. It is a little bit late because I was in Tenerife for the end of February and the beginning of March, so apologies, it is late, but I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read this month, starting once again with my favourite because I like doing it that way. Or what's my favourite? I don't know. Yes, I do know. It's this! Ask the Passengers by A.S. King. This is YA. It's from the point of view of a girl called Astrid who is questioning her sexuality, and she lives in a town that is very, very degrading and horrible about gay people, and there's a lot of gossip and it's really unpleasant. A.S. King, where have you been in my life? I had such a good grasp of the characters within the first 20 pages. I even wrote that down. By page 20 I was like, I know who these characters are and I don't even know how. Her writing is just that amazing. I love the characters so much. I really like the fact that there was a lot of emphasis on the family dynamic, and I kind of related with a few things. I feel like the themes and the issues presented in this book were communicated perfectly, like how problematic labels are. There's just something about all the characters that I just fell in love with. I'm not sure what it was, but I just loved it so much. Definitely 5 out of 5 stars, one of my new favourites. And the next book is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I was saving this for myself. I was very excited to read it and I finally read it on holiday and I loved it. It was so great. Obviously, it's Gillian Flynn, it's obviously gonna be great. Oh, but now I'm really sad because there's no more Gillian Flynn for me to read. They're all gone. What is my life about? This is about a woman called Libby whose family was murdered when she was 7 and she gave a testimony that put her brother in prison, and then many years later she's kind of started questioning it and starts investigating things, and many things are unfolded and it's brilliant. I thought compared to other Gillian Flynn books this was slightly slower paced. If I wasn't a fan of these kind of books I think I would have found this slow, but I didn't find it slow. I thought it was brilliantly written. Gillian Flynn's characters are hard to explain because I instantly disliked Libby, but at the same time I kind of loved her, and I love delving into the worlds and all the kind of relationships and all the ties that she creates and trying to like solve it for yourself, which actually I kind of got right this time. I never predict anything right, but I got this right. Holy shit. And in terms of other Gillian Flynn books, I preferred this to Gone Girl, but Sharp Objects is still my favourite. Definitely, but I love this one a lot. So no surprise, I give this 5 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend this if you're into thrillers and crime thrillers and that kind of thing. So next up is 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstad. It's basically about NASA who hold this really massive publicity event. So they pick 3 teenagers and send them up to the moon with lots of other astronauts, and obviously things start to go wrong and there are things on the moon that shouldn't be there and it's terrifying. Oh my god. Something I really liked about this book was the imagery. I didn't realise that there were going to be like graphics in there and stuff, but I think all the extra photos and things was just really effective, and how the whole thing is kind of structured out like a file. I think that's just so cool and I've never really seen that before. I thought that was a really cool element about it. Something about this book that I found interesting was how it skips time and goes to different points of view constantly, so it is quite fast paced, but sometimes you miss out a massive chunk of time that I would have quite liked to see, because I feel like that would have been a really effective time in the characters' lives and I feel like they would have changed quite a lot and I would have liked to read about it, but I didn't really feel like I got to know the characters that well. Probably because you don't actually get that much time with each teenager because the book is from so many different people's points of view, which is okay. It was definitely interesting, but I think I would have liked to get to know the main characters a little bit more. I actually really enjoyed reading about all the science fiction-y stuff and going into space. I thought that was really interesting and really cool. Didn't expect to find it interesting, but I did, and I loved the horror mystery thing going on the moon. I was definitely scared, and as soon as I put the book down I was like looking over my shoulder like, there's gonna be something here. There's something here. I thought it was a really fun read. I found it quite quick as well, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So next is the graphic novel I talked about in my haul, and that is Lost at Sea by Brian Lee O'Malley. So this is about a girl called Raleigh, or Rayleigh, I don't know, who believes that she doesn't have a soul and she is on a kind of road trip with 3 other people from her high school that she doesn't really know, and it's not much more than that, to be honest. There's a lot of her deep thoughts, like innermost deep thoughts that you're reading through and trying to make sense of. So it's very interesting in that way. It's not plot driven at all. The events do get slightly weird and funny, and I definitely enjoyed reading about it, but it definitely focuses on the characters more, mostly Rayleigh. I did find reading about Rayleigh really interesting because she is such an unusual character and such an interesting character, and you really get to know her very, very well by reading all of her deepest thoughts and things. At first I was like, what is going on? Who is this person? What are you talking about? But I feel like by the end you learn a lot about the characters. I think this is definitely an interesting graphic novel to discuss with other people and see what other people get from it, because I feel like it's probably a more unique experience for every person and you'll either get something from it or you won't. And I kind of feel like I did. I didn't massively relate. At first I was like, oh, I'm not really sure about the illustrative style, but I actually really got to love it. I think it's really simple, but it's really charming and quite beautiful. So yes, really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. It's a unique graphic novel. It's really short. I think I read it in like 3 hours, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So lastly, I read an arc, and it was 5:1 by Holly Bodger. You may recognise the cover because I talked about it in my top anticipated books for 2015, and Holly Bodger got in touch with me and sent me an arc, which was so kind of her, and I was so excited. So 5:1 is set in an isolated community somewhere in India in the future where the ratio of boys to girls is 5:1. So there are 5 boys to every girl, and obviously girls are very valuable and worth a lot of money. So in this community there are tests for boys to go through to try and win a wife. So boys are totally degraded, they're treated like crap, their opinions do not matter, they are sat down and ignored. So it's very interesting to read about things from that point of view, where women are so much in power and the men are essentially nothing, they are worthless. I think the concept and the world that was created was really amazing and definitely believable, and this is also told from 2 points of view, a boy and a girl who are going through the process, and the girls' chapters are in verse and the boys' chapters are in normal writing. Oh my gosh, what's that called? How embarrassing. But I actually really enjoyed that element, and it really gave the book like a personality. I don't know, it made it a really enjoyable experience for me. The only thing that disappointed me with this book was I feel like I really didn't get to know the characters very well. They felt quite flat to me. I only knew them in the context of what was happening and the situation, but if they weren't in that situation I feel like I wouldn't really know anything about them. It is also very short, so I read it very, very quickly. It's a very satisfying quick read. So overall I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did definitely enjoy it. It's just a shame about the characters, and I will be doing a full review of this as well. So that's all. Thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye!